Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany Prochera and welcome to another episode of Muse TV, your place for tips and tricks for musicians and music teachers. Today's episode is specifically for the music teachers and kind of geared towards the new music teachers who haven't had a lot of experience with new students in their studios. Today I'd like to talk to you about certain situations that may arise when you're first introduced to a new student and certain questions that may come up that you might have to address. Here we go. When I first meet a new student, I will often ask them if they could sound like anybody, who would it be? You know, would they want to be Taylor Swift? Would they want to be Mariah Carey? You know, who do they really look up to as singers? That gives me an idea of what kind of vibe they're interested in, style of music, style of singing, all that kind of stuff. But some students will specifically want to be the next Taylor Swift or the next Mariah Carey. And they feel like their lessons would be of no use if they did not come out sounding exactly like them. And here's the thing. When a student comes to me with that kind of expectation, I tell them that I want them to become the best singer they can be, expressing their unique voice, which is not going to be like anybody else's. My job and my aim is to give them the skills to make the best use of what they have and giving them some sense of flexibility so that they can play with their voice, try some different things, but ultimately find their own voice. And hopefully, I haven't had a student yet who would say that that was not okay with them. They realize that they have their own unique contribution to make to music, and they're usually more than happy to do that. So there's the answer to that question. Sometimes you will have a student come to you who has never had any exposure to musical education before. And they will sometimes underestimate what may be required to become proficient at their instrument, whether it be, piano, guitar, voice, whatever. So they will say, is 10 lessons enough to make me good? And here's the thing. As I'm sure you know, it takes a lot of time to become really good at anything, all right? It has been estimated that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become a master at any particular subject. So, when you're dealing with instruments, of course, if someone's never played a guitar or anything before, 10 lessons is not going to be enough to make them good. They may get a couple of ideas under their belt, but it's not enough to go playing out anywhere with that kind of education, right? And certainly, I always tell my students, you get out of it what you put into it. So if you just come here for the lessons and don't do any of the work at home, you're not going to see results. So a lot of it is up to you, what you're willing to put into it. As in the realm of singing, we have often sung before, right? Whether it's Happy Birthday or whether it's in a school choir. So we do have some sense of a background in using our vocal instrument. But it depends, and certainly you can gain skills in those 10 lessons. You can gain techniques, you can gain insight into your instrument. But there are muscles that need to be developed. And the techniques, even though you may be exposed to them and say, oh yeah, that's how you lift up your palate when you're breathing so that your air is directed higher up in your head. Well, that's great to know that, but it takes time to make it a habit and to be able to use it consistently. So those 10 lessons, you may get better. There's some parts of a technique that you may pick up very quickly, and you may see immediate results. But it takes time to make those results second nature. And certainly if you are dealing with something like opera, you wouldn't think of going on opera stage until you've been studying for 10 years. So even with the voice, I would say you will be better, but you will not suddenly become a great singer after 10 lessons. Plain and simple. And you all know that. Fame. Fame is something that so many strive for and so few actually achieve. I know myself, I've gone through periods of seeking the acknowledgement, wanting to see my name up in lights and all of that. But here's the thing. It's, as we know, it's not really all it's cracked up to be. And I like to tell my students, if I've had students who've come to me saying that they just want to be famous, and I tell them this. I say, how about we get you to the point where you are working so hard on your craft and you are becoming so proficient at what you do that you warrant some attention and some respect for your skills. And then let it be what it will be. So make sure, let's get you to where you are so good that you cannot be ignored for what you're doing. And not everybody goes for that. Some people just say, well, I want this quick, they think they want this quick way to become famous. And certainly there are quicker ways, as we know, than spending years and years learning an instrument. So that would be my answer to that question. As I mentioned in a previous episode, I have had students come to me expressly saying that they just want to sing songs and they have no interest in doing warm-ups, which is totally their prerogative, but I tell them this, and I'm sure as teachers you know this already, that you would not run a marathon without having trained for it first. There are valuable things to be learned from warm-ups, valuable ways of moving your fingers if you're working on an instrument, valuable ways of using your voice that can be brought into your repertoire. Well, that's what it's for, is to bring it into the repertoire that you're singing. And from a vocal perspective, it can actually be quite dangerous to just sing for long periods of time without having warmed up. So if a student comes to you with that, it's up to you, but I would definitely tell them that it's just not a safe thing to do, especially for singers, and you may want to try and find somebody else to teach you. Sometimes they will come around, sometimes not, but you have to do what you feel is right and what is in the best interest of the student. Well, that's it for this episode. If you have some other interesting expectations that students have brought into the studio or other interesting questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below because we would love to hear them. If you would like more information about myself or Swimming Tigress music, please visit tiffanyprochera.com where you will find inspiration, lots of music, and the Muse and Moves blog. You can also subscribe to the Swimming Tigress Music YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at Swimming Tigress, and check us out on Facebook at Swimming Tigress Music. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.